My father was an Episcopal priest, which makes me a preacher's kid, sometimes known as PK. And when my older brothers were growing up, they liked to imitate what my dad did in the church services. So they would play church. And one of the most frequent times for them to play church was when my parents were having company over. As a priest and his wife, they were expected to entertain the parishioners. So imagine this scene when the guests are all sitting down, probably smoking because it's the mid-60s, and they all have a cocktail. Episcopalians are also known as Whiskapayans. The guests are all settled in their chairs and comfortable, and out marches my brother. He's wearing a long white shirt of my mother's that was supposed to imitate my father's vestments. My other brother is holding the broom and marching it down the aisle as if he's carrying the crucifix. Next in the service was my father crossing himself, which was supposed to look like this: Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Well, my brothers didn't quite have it down, so they just did like this. Next in the service was the time for the offertory. So one of my brothers would run into the kitchen and get one of my mother's china plates and pass it around to the company. And they put in nickels and pennies, and they just thought it was very cute. Well, much to my mother's chagrin, she stopped that part of playing church because she got embarrassed. Once I came along and got older to join in the fun, my brothers and I were still playing church. One day, my mother noticed that the house was very quiet, and she searched from room to room and finally found us in the bathroom, standing over the toilet, baptizing her leopard skin hat. And this is that very pillbox leopard skin hat. By the way, I have washed it since that incident with the toilet. Another funny story regarding company was when I was about 8 years old, my parents invited a doctor and his wife over. She had very pretty diamond watch and diamond rings, and I had found out in school that there was such a thing as a fake diamond. In the middle of dinner, I asked Mrs. Spence, "Are those real?" Meaning her diamonds. She was very gracious about it and said, "Yes, they are." Then the next thing out of my mouth was, "You know they make fake ones." Well, my parents just died with embarrassment. I'm sure they wanted to crawl under the table. After the company left, I got a lecture as to what's appropriate to ask guests and what's not appropriate. Another funny story was when my brothers were in junior choir, and the mothers would take turns carpooling the boys to and from the church for rehearsals. One of the mothers recalls this funny story. The boys in the back were talking about what their fathers did for a living. And my brother Ed proudly said, "My dad's in charge of the drinking at the church." Of course, he was referring to my father pouring the wine in the chalice and passing it to parishioners during communion time.